Okay. First of all, thank you, organizers for THFM. Again, I would like to congratulate the organizer for THFM for another successful year in running this particular platform. And I think this conference is getting better and better as we move along the years. This is the fourth time, and I think it's really good that there's more people who's interested in doing this. I know it's after lunch, it's 1:40 something. Some of you may be feeling a little bit sleepy after lunch. Very difficult to speak after lunch, but I will try my best to keep you awake. Okay? My name is Eric Wu. You can call me Eric. And I'm from Malaysia, for those who doesn't know me. And I work for ACRI Institute in the Asia Pacific office. And our office is actually in Kuala Lumpur. For those who are still new to what ACRI Institute is about or who we are, a very quick brief about what we are and who we are. We're an independent research organization and we're non-for-profit, which means we do not have shareholders. All the money that we have are churned back into research and development. So no shareholders take money home. So that's what non-for-profit that we have. These are the areas that we focus a lot on: patient safety, risks. We have technology, decision solutions, evidence-based. In the US, we are one of the 13 designated evidence-based practice center. So this is federally designated. You cannot buy the designation. You can only apply if you are doing a lot of research, and there's only 13 of them in the US, and we are one of them. We are also the designated or federally designated patient safety organization, which means we also collect all the adverse event reports. We do the analysis, de-identify the name, and we publish the outcome and recommendation of the report. We have 47 years experience in evaluating medical device. We have 25 years of experience in assessing new technologies that are coming into the market in healthcare. Most importantly, every employee of ACRI Institute are bound and you have to sign a conflict of interest agreement so that we are not working for a manufacturer or biased to certain parties itself. So all our research work are based on facts and evidence. Okay, it's fine if there's no sound. I'll just give you a background while you're watching the video. ACRI Institute was founded by Dr. Joe Noble 50 years ago. He was a physician and worked in an A&E department. He was trying to resuscitate a boy, 4 years old, that was pushed into the emergency department. Unfortunately, the device did not work and the patient died. So from that day on, he came up with the idea that I should take all these resuscitators and we should evaluate them. So he grouped a few clinical engineers together with him, and they researched 50 years ago, all the available resuscitator, and he wrote a paper. The paper says 60% of what is available at the point of time cannot be used as a resuscitator. And he wants to publish the name of the company, the model itself. Nobody wished to publish for us, so he went to the Pennsylvania state government, asked for a small grant. And the small grant started ECRI today. So we are an independent research organization that looks at primarily what is safe for the patient. At the end of the day, all the information and evidence that we churn out is really to help organizations or stakeholders in healthcare to ensure that patients are safe. Oh, no sound. Well, let's go into this, because there's a little bit more I wanted to be detailed out afterwards. Okay. This is what we call, not everything, but the world of medical device. The world of medical device is getting more complex. Every day there is a new device that the hospital will use. So it is getting more and more complex. The challenge is we can use the new device. The question, how do we manage them so that it continues or it delivers the outcome that we hope for our patient itself. So the message I wanted to carry across is that it's very complex. We need to take note of what's happening, right? One of the basic principles about device that we all must know, the device don't work by itself. The device don't deliver good outcome by itself. The device also do not deliver problem by itself. It is an interaction between the device, the facility, the accessories that goes with it, the user, and finally the patient itself. So medical device is just not a piece of device and you say this device is very good, that device is not very good. It is also an interaction between who and what it has been used on and the area that. So take consideration of certain basic, these are some basic principles that we always think about. Device has many impacts in our healthcare, but these are the three most basic impacts that we would like you to consider: the people, process, and technology impact. Anything changes, for example, in the technology. If I change the use of a new technology right now to your hospital, what do I need to do? Immediately, I have to train my people to use the new technology, correct? So is there a direct impact to people? Some technology requires additional staff to help manage the technology itself. So if I use a new technology, do I have impact on people? I have, right? Then the next thing is, if I have impact on people, do I change the way I used to deal with? For example, if the new technology shortens the time of a surgery from 1 hour to 30 minutes, is there a change in the process how I manage my patient? But there are technologies that prolong from 1 hour to 3 hours itself. But what does that mean to the hospital process? For example, robotic surgery increases the surgery time, hypothetically, from 1 hour to 3 hours, for example. Okay, there are multiple different procedures, but definitely there's an extension of time when you use a robotic surgery. What happens to your OT time? What happens to your OT schedule? What happens to the doctors who needs to use the OT? And then the robotic surgery requires 2 scrub nurses instead of 1. So where do you find the second scrub nurse for 1 OT? How does that not impact? So the point I'm trying to make is that there is always an impact between the three. No matter how you look at it, there is always an impact among the three. And within healthcare, many people are using device to drive us how we work, who we should train, and everything else. But I just want to caution you guys. We should focus on what the people is, what the process we need, and use technology as an enabler to deliver what we want, not be driven by the technology itself. Okay? So this is really an impact tool, basic impact model that I always use when I talk about device impact. I want to share with you some of the factors that are happening today, and you ask yourself today whether these are correct or these are not correct. People and process factor. Insufficient training of clinicians in operating room technology puts patient on an increased risk. This has been published. Is this statement right or wrong? So how can they have no impact? The technology that we bring in definitely will have an impact. So you have to not only bring in resources to have the technology, but you have to bring in resources to support the people as well. Robotic surgery, complications due to insufficient training. This has always been published. So device has impact on people. An apheresis dialysis machine that has an air embolism. People who uses the technology have to really maintain the technology. What happened to this patient is that the patient has air embolism and causes a bigger problem in it just because simple thing like priming the tubings and everything will not perform properly. So people issue as well. Alarm configurations. How many times do you hear, I don't know about the report in Thailand, but globally I hear a lot in different countries. People just don't talk about it. How many failed alarm has caused patient harm? I'm in certain places that I know there's a lot. It's not because the alarm no good. It's because there's no alarm. It's because people and process were not put in place, and the type of alarm were not put in place so that we can manage it properly. So people and process is a big issue in causing the device to not work. And I'll share with you more examples later. This came out 2017-18 to be a hot topic. Endoscope that goes in the endoscopy suite, you cannot clean because of the design of the technology. Very hard to clean. So therefore, the incident continued to replicate, the disease continued to be spread from one patient to another patient because of that. So this became one of the big topics that we talked about 2 years ago. This is again a dialysis case. This is from the news, and you will see this as one of the big cases. So what happened here? This is people and process problem. Maintenance, they came in on Friday evening or Saturday, do the cleaning for the RO water with chlorine. Forgot to prime and clean up the chlorine. Monday morning, patient come in. They undergo the same dialysis that they did. What happened? Just because people forget to maintain and clean up the chlorine. So what happened? 7 died, 18 in ICU. What about this? This is also in the news. 22 patients in renal ward infected with Hep C. Why? Because people didn't follow the infection control protocol properly. There were tools for them to use, but it was not being carried out. So what happened after that? MOH went back in, look at the situation, and they still find that they were Hep C virus after they gave them warning, clean it up please. We are already came here and give you warning. After cleaning up, they still find this. So what is the review, checking process that we have in the hospital to make sure that, you know, these things are really clean? But they came back. MOH came back. They still find blood of Hep C in the renal ward. And this is in Singapore, SGH, you all know, right? What about technology? Do they fail? Yes, they do. Do they provide problems? Yes, they do. So some of it are linked to design. There are a number of factors that device can cause failure. So this is an example where the gamma camera mechanically designed poorly that could actually cause the death of a patient itself. So yes, there are technology problems, and technology do have problems by itself, and generally it's because of the design. Right? So here's a problem. This is on robotic. This is not on the main machine, but it is on the accessories that they use to perform a procedure. The instrument breaks, and it gets into the patient's body while they are performing the procedure itself. So things like that can still happen, even though it's a very expensive American-made device. So do take note that device happens. Now, I just want to hold you and talk a little bit about ethics from this part. This is a case where the lady was suing a medical device company. And in between the procedure in the court and everything, the medical device company make claims that they did not cause death, but they actually did. But they keep saying that I did not cause death. The term that they use is that it has been misclassified. It is supposed to be called injury instead of death. My device didn't cause death. My device only caused injury, but the patient actually died. Why did they say they only caused injury? Because they say it's an intervention with human and also procedure error. So the medical device company is also getting the users involved and say that I only produce a device, but you are using the device. You are deciding on what procedure you use, particularly the off-label procedures. My device never intend to use for that procedure, but you think you can use, you are the user, and you use it for the procedure you think you can use. So you also have to take part of the blame, off-label procedures. So this is what the medical device company is saying. My device never caused death. It only caused injury. Together with you as a doctor and user, it caused death. So if I have responsibility, you have responsibility too. So from the legal perspective, many is going into arguments like that from the medical device world. So be very careful about how we want to deal with medical device. And then be also very vigilant about understanding how our people are undertaking the use of the medical device. What is the correct process to deal with it? Should we be very aggressive to use medical device off-label? So give it a thought, because this is in the news. It's a real case. The company is denying that my device caused death. I only caused injury, they say. So give it a thought, and this is coming up, and more people are going to think like that because they are manufacturing medical device and everyone wants to protect themselves. Is what the medical device company wrong? They are not absolutely wrong, you know. I only sell you the medical device, but you are the one who decide how you're using it and what procedure you're using it. Is the medical device company absolutely wrong in this statement? No. They also have a point. So really we have to understand impacts of medical device. And there was studies being done. Malpractice lawsuits claims in the US, for example, there's a study, 23.5% of all malpractice has to do with medical device. But is it a medical device fault or not? We don't know yet, but you know, 23.5% of all malpractice for healthcare has to do with medical device. So it tells you that we have to put a lot of attention, a lot of effort to really look at how we use medical device, what medical device we're using, how are we managing our medical device, and why are we using certain medical device? Should we use the most innovative one? Questions like that must be asked, right? So what are things that we have to think about if we have to manage medical device? Obviously, what are the kind of guidelines that we put in place, for example, from buying a new device until managing the day-to-day maintenance of the new device, till the day the device cannot be used, and how do we decommission the device itself from the hospital. So guidelines and policies has to be written and implemented. If you have no audit trail on that, it will be very difficult. If you don't guide how to maintain and manage medical device, it will be very difficult. Is the risk of managing medical device use on patient falls only on the engineering team? The answer is no. The whole hospital has a responsibility, particularly the risk managers, the medical directors, and the officers handling the device and have involved. So it is not just one person or one department's effort in managing medical device. It is the entire hospital. So don't think that managing medical device is just one department's problem. The answer is wrong. If you think like that, then you have a problem with your managing your medical device. Process in resources. I used to be an operating officer in a hospital, and I never thought that managing medical device required many people. I never thought about putting resources like money and effort in helping to manage the device, but I was wrong. And I can tell you it's very important that you have a good process written, SOP, and enough resources so that your medical device is managed properly. Last but not least, make sure you monitor what is happening and your process is working correctly. And of course, you have to do a lot of reviews. It is okay to have a wrong process, but after monitoring and review, you have to change and improve them. That is fine. but at least you must have that step to do that job itself, right? Bear in mind, in the hospital, there are three major pillars. One are the people, like all of you in the room. You guys are the people in the hospital. Major pillar for a hospital, right? The second one is the facility building. Without the building, there's no hospital, right? What else left in the third pillar in the hospital? It's the medical device, right? Other than the patient walking in, it's the medical device, right? So if medical device is one of the three major pillars for your hospital itself, why are we not putting resources and a good way of managing the medical device? We should. Some of the things that are evolving, and I've said about new technologies evolving every day, every minute, there are new things. This is just an illustration diagram. Who knows what this is? This is not a new technology, but it is not being adopted widely in the world. This is a hybrid MR, hybrid operating room with MRI. But there is a twist to it. The MR magnet can move from OT1 to OT2. It is not fixed in one room. This technology is also not new, but people didn't see a need to use something like that. Hybrid MR means you put an MRI in the operating room itself, right? So this is what it is. Now you can put inside and you can still move it. So this is an illustration of the technology that is available. And I can tell you this is not new. This has been around for a while. So I want to talk about some of the things that are really evolving and everybody is doing. It's like you do, I do, you do, I do, everyone wants to do. Integration. I want electronic health record. I need data to do AI. I need, all the patients to data to be seamless. I want to use iPad. I want doctor to access medical record even on the plane. Everybody wants to integrate the data. Very good idea, and I support the integration 1000%. We just need to understand what are the things that you are integrating. When you want to integrate, don't just look at the cloud or the broad level. I'm integrating my hospital. Under this cloud, there is a lot of small details that you need to consider. And people who makes the decision and say, let's integrate, did not consider enough or did not have a big team enough to consider the small little details. That is why a lot of integrated hospitals have many initial problems. And they will try and resolve it after that. So some basic equipments that integrates for your data so that your patient or medical record can be updated are like, some of this equipment. And published news say that double-digit, more than 10% of hospitals are integrating every year. It's growing so fast. Everybody wants to integrate because everybody wants data. Everybody wants to have an easy access to electronic medical record. So people are going to integrate. So you will, and it is a good thing to do. But I just want to caution you, be careful in doing it. Because we will have problems. Inaccurate data, loss of vital signs and patient data, delay in accessing the data, inaccurate identifications of patients, staffing inefficiency, because enter data is not just connect cable and then data will go. You still need people in between to make sure that the data are right. Do you have the staffing to deal with? Like I said, you bring in the technology, did you bring in the people as well? You buy a technology, but you use the current amount of people, are they ready to undertake that particular technology to implement them? Do you have enough of those staffing to deal with? So in a diagram, it is not a clean, easy effort to integrate, like plug cables and then everything will work. That is not the truth. The truth is, it is really messy, and we have to understand, because every device has their own way or own code. Your electronic medical record also have a own code. then a clever middleware has to be created, and somebody need to maintain those middleware so that it can work properly and function properly. And bear in mind, if your hospital is a big hospital, all integrated, every single millisecond, you will have 10, 20, 30 data, 100 data going into the system same time. So the system has to be very robust. So it's not as simple. And what about wireless transmission of data? People don't like cable anymore because it costs money to put cable in the building. Let's do wireless. So if we do wireless, your bedside monitor is FDA or some regulators' approval, right? Should the Wi-Fi router be a medical device? Think about it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a debate in 2018 that I was talking to many of the integrators, and the PIMS people were also asking me about the same thing. I was talking to them. If you are thinking about wireless, and every device has to be approved by certain regulator to be a certain medical standard, and you are transmitting data, so should the wireless router be a medical device? If the wireless router fail, your central monitor have no data, or the data is stagnant, like 1 hour ago data on the screen, patient die inside, whose fault? Whose fault? So should a router of the Wi-Fi becomes a medical device also? I don't know. It's a $1 million question. Nobody can answer me that. If it's not, then if the patient really die and the screen on the central monitor is hanged with the 1 hour ago data and patient die inside, so whose fault? So think about it. So it is getting messier. So it's not so straightforward and easy. Just buy, integrate, and finish. It's a very easy. It's not. There's a lot more risk management control and risk management thoughts to be put in, right? Some challenges, confidentiality of data. I think when you integrate and you put it all in central, we all know hacking is a problem, cybersecurity is a problem. So you will have these challenges. In managing your data. Confidentiality is important. Integrity of the data, whether the data is a continuous, it's a data, wrong, fail, not right, who knows, who checks? In your SOP of integration, do you put in there, someone must check this data coming in every 20 minutes from this machine. This machine transmits data to the record every hour, one time. Who checks the last hour, the data correct or wrong? Then question, is there a need to check? If there's no need to check, then are you confident that the data is correct? Availability of where access the data device is limited or lost. Data breach, we have talked about that. Of course, then the hacking of medical device. People think that medical device is not where they hack, but you are wrong. People use medical device to hack into the main system and hold people ransom. So medical device can be an entry for hackers to put in the virus. They don't want to hack your medical device for fun. They want to hack your medical device as an open door. So the medical device becomes your door for them to open, and they go in and go into your electronic medical record and controls all your database from there. So that's what is happening. So medical device, they're not interested to hack just one medical device. They want to use it as a door to enter your system. We have many notifications and problems report as well that we have published. Ethicon Gen 2, there are harmonic problem on the software as well. So bear in mind, if you're using those kind of software, and software of a medical device can be a problem now, not just the device itself mechanically, but software of the device. So in the past, we talk about medical device being just mechanical, electrical, and stuff like that. But like handphone, watches, these days everything is a software and a system plus device itself. So the medical device world is evolving. Do we want to follow? You are also following the evolution in other places like your handphone, your watch, right? And everything else that are evolving, you are following, or we are following. And medical device, we will follow suit as well. So it's also not just about the mechanical and electrical part, but also the software. So you have to take note, medical device is going there. So we have reports that talks about all that. What about, there's a big hype now that people are talking about software being a medical device, but it is true. Applications, apps. Many of the apps in health has been created, particularly monitoring apps. Should the apps be a medical device? Because the apps are doing monitoring and data record, should the apps be a medical device? Why should it be a medical device? What happens if the data and record and the monitoring is wrong, and the information are transmitted to your physician? Physician make the decision based on what? The information they get, right? So if they get the wrong type of information from your record and your device and your app that is monitoring you, what would the physician do? He will prescribe, or he will prognose, or he will do a diagnosis, he will prescribe drugs or treatment based on what he sees as the data, correct? Physicians will do that, correct or not? It is their job to do that. But what if the data is wrong? So should an app be a medical device? The world of software is getting into our life, and applications is getting into every single, including my son's life. So it is becoming more and more important for us to understand. So how do we manage such a medical device or an app in our hospital? Not just the usage perspective and the accuracy perspective, but also future-proof, not to be hacked. So there are many things that we have to consider in the evolution of medical device in our life. So we better now start looking at how we want to manage all these medical device rather than waiting for it to come. So, this is a nice statement. There is currently no guarantee about the quality or performance of applications. No one can guarantee you. There is no FDA of applications, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, there is no FDA of applications in the world. You are the own FDA. You either take or you don't use, that's all. So there is no guide. The only one who actually went and applied for an FDA is the Apple Watch for the ECG app that they have. And they got approved by US FDA. Other than that, there is no app that has been, there is no FDAs that is looking at apps. But should we not? In time to come, I believe there will be a department just to look at softwares. So some of the key areas that we want to look at is the consolidation of health information platform. Very scary, but this is the main thing why people create apps. Sometimes this is the main reason why you get apps for FOC. Do you know why you get apps for FOC? Because they want your data. It is with an application that they can collect data. And data is then being used, just like Facebook. So data can be used. That's why your application is FOC on Apple Store or on Play Store. You get them for free because it is the data that they want. And not only one-time data, but everyday data, if you're monitoring everything there. Is that data being protected by PDPA, your personal protection, data protection? I don't know. It's a free app. Nobody forced you to download, right? Smartphone with ECG monitors, we already said that, watches with that. Telehealth, remote patient monitoring, this is the part that many people are trying to do. It is a very good thing to do. If we can monitor senior citizens at home, we do not have them in the hospital, and senior citizens who needs monitoring at home, and if we can monitor them, that is very good. How to make it work properly is the question. So a lot of medical device or monitoring device are now going into that space of monitoring senior citizens at home, right? Here are some concerns. There is no guidance. No one can tell you which application or which type of software is good. No one can even tell you, like for example, a device, version 2 software. Is this version 2 software good or bad? The competitor device, version 10 software. So this competitor device, version 10 software, is it better than this version? Nobody can tell you. So medical device software is still an unknown black hole for all of us in the medical device world. We do not simply just know what is the good and bad of their softwares that they put into their medical device. Nobody has evaluated, nobody has assessed. We only see reports of problems when it happens, right? So those are the things that we need to understand. Mobile health, very, very good, but we feel that there is no regulation and no regulatory or guideline that is actually regulating the use of these apps. And there's not enough guideline to protect personal data. Just like Singapore now, they just lost the entire national HIV data. So all the HIV people in Singapore is now in open air. Everyone knows who is a HIV patient. No one performs, no one, and I say no one, nobody performs any risk assessment into such a device type. No one consider, if you're using mHealth, what would be the risk, where would be the risk. Nobody. They just want the convenience of the new and wonderful mobile apps that they get so that they can apply and make the hospital more efficient, more effective. I think that's a great idea, but nobody considers the risk. You still have to think about the risk. So how is it moving forward? What should we be looking at? 5 years, maybe less than 10 years for sure. We can say goodbye to traditional maintenance. There will be new way of maintaining things. There is a requirement of a basic standards to be uplift to higher standards now if you want to maintain all the medical device properly in time to come. So we have to set a pace of what it is today and be ready to move forward to the new level, because the medical device is coming in so fast. So this is a challenge. But what is it that we have to learn, and what is it that we have to be prepared? So we have to work on all these things to get ready so that you are not caught off guard. Plan for new roles. This is not only just planned, but it's not happening so much in Asia Pacific, but in the US it is. New positions are being created. I saw that in China too. So they create new positions such as wireless service manager, clinical system engineer, medical device data security profession, chief clinical technology officer. So there are more and more positions that focus on all this are being created in the US in their hospitals. They don't create this for fun. They create this because they know that there is an impact from the medical device that they have to manage. So the evolution of just being a regular engineer is going to change. You will become more, and there is more to do because of the change of the technology that we are buying, right? Much more involvement in the integration concerns. These people are going to be focusing a lot more on that because that's where the first part of all this hacking and cybersecurity happens because of integration. So that's going to happen. This is important. We have to change our mindset. You cannot keep on with the traditional mindset that I just have to fix mechanically. No. It has to be a system thinking from now, and operationally your process has to be a systematic thoughts. And it will involve multiple stakeholders, not just one department. So we have to think about what we need, not because you want to give up, your authority in the department or anything, but you have no choice because the medical device is forcing you to work in a bigger team to manage them. So always be vigilant. Look out for reports. This is something we publish for free every year. You will also see them. And look out for hazard reports, problems that are reported globally. We publish them every year, the top 10. Be vigilant about how we deal with it. Now, moving forward, managing medical device tomorrow, not today, tomorrow, right? We need to start standardizing our guideline and processes. We need to start standardizing our process. We need to make sure that we start building competent resources, human expertise needs to be enhanced. We need to build more of the human expertise to be ready to manage those very difficult medical devices. Unless you decide the whole of Thailand, we don't buy new device. We use old type of device, fine. But I don't see that's the case. Every doctors are buying new technology, every hospital are buying new technology. And if you cannot stop the new technology from coming into the hospitals, then you jolly well be ready. Be ready to manage them, not just mechanically. It has to be a system approach moving forward. Most importantly, you need to create an auditable program so that you can audit your process, you can review your current approach to dealing with medical device, and continuously develop improvement program to enhance your management of medical device. So that's very, very important. And I think with that, I end my presentation. I'm happy to take questions if there's time. Thank you.